Am I the a-hole for not siding with my wife over our son's ex-girlfriend's pregnancy? Our son, just turned 16, had a girlfriend, she's 16, almost 17, but they broke up about a month ago. About 3 weeks ago we were informed by her parents that she is pregnant. She is slightly showing. The dates line up with my son's relationship. My wife and I went into full panic mode. We waited a couple days before telling our son, who didn't know. He immediately said it's not mine, I never fed her. I didn't believe him as I know he is active. He did the sensible thing and asked me for protection. However, he kept on saying they never did it. He said he cheated on her. I had a heart-to-heart with him and he is an absolute shithead, but I began to believe him. He said he always raps and he has asked for restocks. My wife, on the other hand, still didn't believe him. Both families met. My wife started the conversation just accepting that our son is the father and was trying to figure out a solution, funding etc. My son spoke up saying it's not his baby as they never had sex. He was genuinely angry. Then he made a comment that I'm going to rephrase. Apparently they only ever did a certain act which can't result in a baby and it was unsatisfactory, so he never went any further with her. An absolute shithead, and we raged at him over it. His ex-girlfriend admits they rarely did it but explained the event, the when and where, and I will say it was believable too. I know he's a complete liar. I know he is an absolute dog, but I believe him still. My wife, however, is angry with me for playing into his nonsense. She said I'm part of the boy culture. She said children born to teen parents are more likely to be teen parents, and we were both 17 when my wife got pregnant. She said I'm worsening the situation by not living in reality and she is left to figure out what to do on her own. To her point, I am hands-off on further meetings with the other family. I don't believe we should have those discussions until it's proven he's the dad. Am I the a-hole? Also, this is really ranty. I'm sorry, but I needed to leave off some steam. Just to add, her parents don't want to do a paternity test until after the child is born. They said it could harm the baby, but apparently it's harmless, so I don't know. So we cannot get a test done before then. Courts can't order one till birth. Another addition, I'm in the UK. About getting paternity test. When I brought up a paternity test, the other family got offended. They thought I was implying something. The family said they'll do a paternity test when the child is born. They don't trust doing a paternity test prior to birth for safety reasons. I'm no medical professional, but apparently it's safe. About getting a non-invasive prenatal paternity test. You cannot get a court order to get a paternity test for an unborn child here anyway. A solicitor won't be able to do anything until the baby is born. I have a great relationship with my boy. Love him to bits. About his son's ex's parents. No idea about their vax stance, but they are uber religious, pro-life etc. They looked down on us constantly. I'd say they hated their daughter was with such a boy. About his son history of lying. Oh, I've had many cross words. But from what he describes, he's saying he's playing safe. Her parents don't want to do a paternity test until the baby is born for safety concerns. My wife is fine with that. Apparently it's not unsafe though. I feel I know when he lies given he does it so often. I often see him lying to his mother and I can tell it's a lie and he'll admit that it is a lie. If he isn't lying, he deserves someone in his corner. About what sexual acts the son did with his ex-girlfriend according to him. OOP, from what he describes, his lower member was nowhere near her area. It feels really strange talking about their stuff. I've asked. They said they will not allow any risk. I said it wasn't a risk, they said no. It wasn't anal. It was oral only, apparently. It happened twice, but he said she wasn't good so he didn't even finish. And I'm going to bang my head against a wall after typing that. About what advice OP give to his son and what he thinks of his actions. He's been warned by me not to even talk to her in school. Avoid her completely. He said gladly. My worry is more with what my wife will pay for or whatever. He is an absolute to her. I've even stated how much of a shithead he is on this post. About his wife possibly sending money to her son's ex-girlfriend and what she would do in case of his son not being the father. OOP, we both have a separate account and then a joint one. I've asked her those questions. She said he's lying. I said if he isn't, and she said but he is. I said let's say there's a 99% chance he's lying. If that 1% happens, how will she mend it with him? She said I'm being naive. And it's that absolute belief that he is lying that is really irritating. Like I believe him but I'm not certain. He could be lying but I don't think he is. She can't sign his name to a birth cert, thankfully, but I did say if it turns out he isn't the father and she does anything that will impact him, she will be left all alone. We've dated since we were 15 and it's the first time I've lost a lot of respect for her. I do still love her though. If he's not the dad, they are done. There is no way back. Their relationship is already so FED. It's very sad. She's so sure because she knows our son. A betting man would bet on him lying. She thinks I'm being totally naive. About his son getting married with the ex-girlfriend in case of him being the father, and the fact that OOP got his wife pregnant when they were teens. OOP, they won't be getting married. Rest assured. Well, we got married because we were kind of forced. Luckily for me, I love my wife. She is my best friend despite current events. Normally with issues we've always been on the same page, but this has been different. Saying that, I also know we were lucky in that we actually liked each other. Many of those types of marriages aren't good. So I wouldn't want my son pushed into anything like that. But I would expect him to be there for his child as I was for him. I would expect him to wizen up sharply. Like the amount of growing I had to do quickly was insane. Etc. About his and his wife's treatment of their son. OOP, I could understand if she said look he's a shithead, I think he's lying and the baby is his. What I cannot understand is that she can't even consider the possibility that he's telling the truth or a grey area between as you mentioned. Like I believe he's telling the truth, but I'll freely admit if I was a betting man I'm probably safer to bet that he's lying. Believe it, by all means, but let's not rush into anything without proof. I only started calling him a shithead about a year ago when he was being a shithead. But in my defense that's just the way we talk. Usually when I call him it he'll start laughing or whatever. And TBFF is pretty common here. If the son knows he cares about him. He knows. We do actually have a good relationship. He probably overshares a bit too much, if anything. I think it's the way you say it shithead too, and it's just our way of talking. I'm sure the experts would disagree with it, but yeah. If the son did drugs. 6 months ago, he was hanging out with friends of friends and he said they were passing around something, drugs. He swore down he didn't smoke it. I did believe him because why would he say it otherwise? His mother did not. She drug tested him. Apparently he was drug-free. One thing that we are lucky about is that he's so competitive at football that he doesn't involve himself in underage drinking, smoking, etc. About what the son said to the ex-parents. Because it's weird to say what he actually said given he's my son. If you want the actual quote. She only ever sucked him and he said she was so teethy that he made her stop. It was like rubbing his dick along sandpaper. Is that better for you? Update 1, a week later. I didn't think I'd be coming back so soon, and this is probably more suited to an advice sub rather than an sub. Cursing. Sexual references, etc. Short story. Text message that backs up her story. Another meeting. Went worse than the first. His not coming home. Mother-son relationship FED. And husband-wife relationship FED. His ex has text messages to a friend around the time in which she discussed my son's large with a mark organ and the type of sex they had. The messages align with what she says and go beyond the oral that he had said. My wife gloated, but anyway. My wife invited them over without my knowledge. It was carnage. She, our son and I were sitting on one side of the table. He told his mum that she should sit on the other side and he wouldn't start a conversation until she moved over. She eventually did. Our son was very quiet at the beginning. He admitted he has the mark and is large, something I never needed to know, but he maintained it was just oral. He started winking at his ex's mother. When she asked why he was winking at her, he said your husband is gayer than Philip Schofield, so I'm sure you'd like a go on my large. He turns to his ex's dad, says Philip, his name is not Philip, it's not for you, followed by a gay slur. I was speechless at it all. My wife said to my son to stop denying it. My wife started planning again. I said I'd still want DNA, preferably now but immediately at birth. They stuck to birth. My son spoke up. He said that this is not how this is going to work. He told them that they get the test done now or he will refuse to get tested until he's finished college, so 6 years' time approx. He said courts won't expect maintenance from a kid. And in that time the SL-T who gave birth to him, my wife, will have spent so much money and will love a kid that is unrelated to her. He said hopefully that spirals the SL-T into a very dark place. They said they'd just court order it. He said a court cannot force him. Some autonomy thing. He seemed confident and turns out he's right. He was walking out and his mother grabbed his arm to come back in. He said get your dirty hand off me you SL-T. He said he'd fight back if she didn't let go. I told her to let him go. He said he was staying at a friend's. He's been staying there a bit. I went out and said I'd drive him. He agreed. In the car journey, he said he knows I don't believe him anymore but he didn't F her. He said school is horrible, social media is horrible and your wife, he didn't call her mum, is a BTCH. I said you can't speak about your mum like that. He said she's a woman that gave birth to him and minded him, that's all. He said she doesn't care how he is coping. She's never even asked. When we got to his friends he cried a bit. He said it's nothing to do with me but he won't be home much anymore. He said hopefully I'd still hang out with him. I know his friend's father from the pub. He started talking to me. I was gonna give him money because my son is over there a lot but he refused. He said my son told him everything. He's a counselor. He said girls can exaggerate to friends, boys can lie. He said he knows my son since he was tiny and he believes him. He also said he might have more information than I do. No idea. He warned that we are going to lose him if we are not careful. I went home. I told my wife if she so much as says one word to me or our son about the baby without a test being done, we are over. If she doesn't apologize to our son, in the next few days, and beg him for forgiveness we are done. I, sadly, do mean it. It wasn't heat of the moment. By her reaction, I think we will separate for now. I do love her, childhood sweethearts, but my son is my son. It is not a matter of believing him, I probably don't, it's a matter of being there for him. He was always a shithead but his behavior is erratic and almost asking for help. It's worrying how quickly he has changed. He is the priority for me right now. Counseling and plenty of it. About his son's words and the need of being coddled. OOP. How he is speaking to everyone is wild and is unacceptable. Philip Schofield and the slur was an awful thing to say. But as much of a shithead as he was, this is very out of character for him. Maybe it's coddling him but I think he's at his wit's end. A cry for help. It was shocking to see. Counseling and plenty of it. His friend's father is a counselor therapist. He said he needs a safe home and basically to be coddled. He needs to be told it's not right but not in an angry way. I did tell him it's not right. He said be strict on him and it'll be a dark watch or something to that effect. About his son's behavior towards women and potent on red flag for future relationships. OOP. Because for one I don't think he acts that way to his friend or his family. When we were alone in the car, he was normal to me. He was crying and upset but he didn't have the cockines he had in the meeting. His wife died but he has 2 daughters. I asked him what he's like and he said he's mostly in his room upset. He said when he comes out of his room he'll ask what chores he'll do. I asked about his daughters, he said they get along fine. He and his friend walked his youngest daughter to school a couple of times and he asks her spellings along the way apparently. Some comments were given a hard time to OOP and one of the reasons for that is because he thinks his wife should apologize to their son and he explained why. OOP. I don't trust him and he's still fine to me. I do think it's bad of her to full on say you are liar, it's your kid, take responsibility. To be so sure, she's not even talking about DNA. I also think some of her words were cutting disgrace, disappointment etc. I think the biggest one, and he said it himself, is at no point did she ask how was he, how's the bullying at school etc. And I think she should appreciate that he's already getting so much shit he doesn't need to be called a disappointment etc. and have the coldness at home. I think an apology is needed from her. I think he, at some point, will need to do a lot more than just apologize to her. But at the end of the day, he's broken and fragile. It was scary watching his behavior. A totally different boy from a month ago. I think he needs to know people are in his corner. He is a real therapist, but I agree there's a conflict of interest. I said we all need therapy. He said he'd do it with me but not with my wife. About why he's taking easy on his son comparing to his wife, I would imagine he's gone so far that what he will need to do will be discussed between him and a counselor that he will get. I don't think I'm capable of suggesting what that may be. I really don't. This isn't bunking off school etc. I actually think her behavior is disgusting. Not as disgusting but disgusting nonetheless. Let's take it to the extreme. Let's say he's had suicidal thoughts, and I don't think it's a total stretch given how he seems and his counselor's comments. He's having a rough time in school. He's not the dad, I think he is. His mother calls him a disgrace, disgusting etc. before he ever called her AS. He believes DNA now would sort it all out, but his mother won't even push for it because he's guilty. He then sits down and watches a group of people discuss his manhood. And despite all this she hasn't asked him once if he's okay. Not even out of courtesy. And that's worst case scenario. I get that. I cannot get on board at all with her behavior or his, but there is one who needs me more right now. My wife has friends at work. Friends outside work. She has this new family, she's going to be a grandmother for. He has 2 friends. That's it, in his head. That's all. Update 2 a month later. My wife and I separated, but we are on good terms. I think she understands why I moved out, but we still want to deal with the situation differently. I'm living in a flat with my son. He seems happier. The good news, his ex's parents last Thursday agreed to do a paternity test. That is booked for this Wednesday. I don't know what brought on this sudden change. I told my son they had agreed. He asked to meet his ex and her parents to apologize. He thanked and apologized to his ex's parents for what he said. They were very good to accept the apology, although I do think he deserved an apology too. He said to his ex that he's not starting anything but that they both know it's not his. She still insisted it's his. I asked if maybe he wanted to apologize to his mother or at least have a discussion with her. He said he won't apologize to her and he won't forgive her even if she apologizes to him. He said he hates her and always will. That's still an utter mess. He won't speak to her. If she visits our flat he leaves. Saturday night I told him I won't be angry if he has been lying, but if he is I'd prefer him to be honest rather than find out by the test. He again said it's not his. Quickly after that he asked me to promise I wouldn't get mad if he told the truth. He said he doesn't want labels, but the reason it went no further with his ex is because he can't stay up with girls and he uses the condoms but not with girls. I couldn't respond as he went to bed. I told him Sunday morning I'm fine with him whatever he is. Admittedly it was a surprise. I did ask about the Philip Schofield comment he made against his ex's dad and he said nothing like that ever happened. He said it's a guy his own age. I didn't push it any more than that. He wants it kept quiet, so here I am as I can't tell others, but it'd be a shock at this point if it's his. About the surprise of this new update. OOP, it's a shock to be honest, but the way the last 2 months or so have gone it's not much of a big deal right now. I don't care if he's gay. I'm gonna need a holiday after all this though. About getting the son and his wife into therapy. OOP, counseling has a long waiting list. He is on the list. In the meantime I've made him speak to this org I was told about. It's like a helpline but it's manned by student psychologists and similar. It's not therapy. It's just someone to speak to. He will still need counseling and I think he'd probably welcome it. About how his wife lost him and his son in this situation. OOP, I very much disagree and hate how my wife has dealt with this, but to me this separation is temporary. Even if it's not, she'll never lose me. I love her and she has been my best friend. If the cuddler knew his son is gay. OOP, that's good thinking, but that comment was about how badly my son was coping with the situation. He told that man he wanted others to suffer in the way he was and stuff. As for our son, hopefully that can be mended, but I'm not so confident. About sex ed and the need to reinforce that. OP, that's true. He has always asked for condoms. He did say he uses them always with the guy. And neither of them go with others. At some stage I'll have the talk with him again, but that rest comes first. About the possibility of the ex-girlfriend's father flirted or hit his son. OP, the Philip Schofield comment worried me a little, but I doubt it. My son said no, he never was like that. He just said it to hurt and embarrass him like they and his mum did during the meeting. If the son's relationship with his mother was always rocky. OP, they had a good relationship. A bit of a mama's boy, but he was always wild. She does still believe his lying. She is still, from what I know, pleasuring for her grandchild. She is unaware of the gay part. Not my thing to tell. If his wife knows their son is gay and if she would be homophobic. OP, she wouldn't be homophobic. He said I'm the only one who has told. I think she just broke his entire image of her. About being gay not be an excuse for his behavior. OP, being gay doesn't absolve his comments. Regardless of result, he will still be getting counseling. Apologizing was a good step. I don't think he's a misogynist. In the same way I don't think he's a homophobe. I think he said misogynistic and homophobic things to lash out. Absolutely wrong. If the DNA test shows that his son is the father, if it turns out to be his, he will have to step up and take responsibility. He will have to a lot of bridge building. I'd be very annoyed that he lied, but I don't think I'd regret how I dealt with it. Update 3 to 5 days later. He lied. AITAH for not siding with my wife over our son's ex-girlfriend's pregnancy. AITAH said I broke their rules. Too many updates, so I'll post it here. The person I messaged to apologize to at AITAH was very nice and kind. Spent the 800 quid on the test, last Wednesday. He didn't seem nervous. He seemed happy. All went well. Thursday morning, I woke up, he wasn't there. Had texted me he needed a break for a few days. Wife rang that his ex was gone. Same message. I text and rang him over and over. Eventually he video called me. His ex was there too. He said he lied about it all and that the test will probably show it's his. He told me where they are staying and they apparently want to talk about it without adults getting involved. I was wrong. He lied. My wife was humble, given everything. Her parents and my wife think it might be a good thing to let them talk. They are staying in touch. I don't see the benefit in them on their own, nuts, in my opinion, but I'm so mad maybe it is for the best. I'm done. Also I don't think I can respond here.